So with Nancy Pelosi taking her little trip to Taiwan and further propelling us towards war with the big power that is the China and ensuring death for us all, I believe that it's important to discuss what she actually accomplished from this trip, because it is an extremely important trip for reasons that I have stated and we'll get into in this video. So let's speak about what she got out of this, what we all kind of got out of this, other than the fact that the world is much less safe as a result, and tensions with China are even higher than they already were as a result of this. So what I firstly want to do is play you a quick clip of some of her very studious and very decipherable remarks that she uttered while she was in Taiwan. Take a look.
Sources of strength is democracy. I said at a meeting earlier with the parliamentarians, in our earliest days of our founding of our country, Benjamin Franklin, our presidency, said, freedom and democracy. Freedom and democracy on one thing, security here. If we don't have, we can't have either if we don't have both. So, security, economics, security, economy, and again, they're all, and governance, they're all related, and we want Taiwan to always have freedom with security, and we're not backing away from that. Okay?
Thank you.
Wow, that was wonderful. Flew all the way to Taiwan to say that. I mean, we all understood what she said there. And I'm being sarcastic if you can't tell. This is an article that I have in front of me from Caitlin Johnstone. It's from her Substack. I think it's amazing. I'll link it down below. But I want to use it to help me as I talk through this video about this Taiwan trip. She says in her article, toward the end of her speech, alongside Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen, Pelosi's brain underwent one of its increasingly common software glitches, causing her to begin babbling inarticulately. And she says, and I quote, is what Pelosi said as you watch in that clip: in our earliest days at our founding of our country, Benjamin Franklin, our presidency, said freedom and democracy, one thing, security here. If we don't have, we can't have it. We can't have either if we don't have both. It makes absolutely no sense. I also want to bring up the fact that there was that doctor or physician some time ago. There's a Vox article and many other articles about it that you can look up. It's readily available information online that many politicians in Washington, in Congress, are prescribed Alzheimer's medicine and dementia medicine for that stuff. These are very sick people that are running our country, quite literally in every way you can imagine. Not just sick with corruption, but literally sick in the fact that their brains are melting. Joe Biden is hardly even a human being anymore. He can't really function. He's extremely old, but that's neither here nor there. Nancy Pelosi is, of course, suffering the same natural causes of life, as you saw there in that video. As Ms. Caitlin points out here in her article, of course, Benjamin Franklin was neither a president of the United States nor a presidency. And the quote Nancy's floundering brain was reaching for was, and I quote, those who would give up essential liberties to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. These are not difficult things to remember or articulate for someone with functioning gray matter, as Ms. Johnstone outlines. But what I want to get into is what she accomplished. That's what I said this video will be about, and that's what we're going to run through very briefly. What did this grandiose, extremely pious, privileged trip to Taiwan gift every single American and Chinese citizen? Well, I'm going to go through a list that I have compiled here. Here we go. China has announced more sanctions on Taiwan that morning. So this was 3 days ago. In export of sand, critical for semiconductor production. They placed bans on imports of frozen fish and citrus fruit. These were all wins by Pelosi. This happened as a result. China banned over 100 Taiwan food products. I believe this was done actually before she even landed. These were just warnings. Planes across median line of Taiwan Strait. All commercial flights in Fujian province were canceled. A Taiwan airport receives a bomb threat letter. These are all results of Nancy Pelosi's trip, and we're still going. It's not over yet. China announced sanctions on Nancy Pelosi and her family, prohibiting them from doing any future business or investment in the country. So they can't do anything in China anymore. China has announced the end to the following cooperation with the U.S. calls with leaders, defense meetings, maritime security consultation, climate change talks, anti-drug cooperation, transnational crimes, and illegal immigration. Wow, those are really big wins from Pelosi there as she took her little go-away trip to Taiwan and as she preached about freedom and democracy and all these other grandiose statements that she elaborated upon in that speech that nobody could seem to understand. Wow, doesn't seem like anybody got anything out of this. No, I surely didn't. You did. No American citizen won. No, all of these wins that I just outlined were losses for everyone. And the world is much less safe as a result as we stare down the nose of nuclear disaster, because that's what war with China would mean. And I'm not done with the accomplishments just yet. I have another list, and I want to read to you a little bit more from Caitlin Johnstone's article as she outlines here. U.S. war machinery, including aircraft carriers and large planes, were mobilized to provide security for Pelosi's visit ahead of her arrival. The United States military was literally just used to help a dementia patient try to start World War III. And here's where we get into the further accomplishments of her trip to Taiwan. China's response to Pelosi's provocation has been thankfully relatively measured, though we're about to see Taiwan fully encircled by the Chinese Navy for a show of force unlike anything we've seen in decades. Let's expound upon that. So this is from antiwar.com. China is conducting its largest military drills around Taiwan in decades. This is a result of Nancy Pelosi's trip. This is what she won. This is what happened. These are her accomplishments here. We have to be happy about this. So in response to the visit to the island by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, China's People's Liberation Army said it will conduct a series of military operations surrounding Taiwan and announced strong military responses were underway as soon as Pelosi's plane landed. The response will include joint air and naval patrols to the north, southwest, and southeast of Taiwan's coastline and airspace. The drills will also include long-distance live fire artillery shooting in the Taiwan Strait, as well as missile test firings in the waters east of the island. Wow. What an extreme show of force from the Chinese military. But this is what they wanted. This is what Pelosi wanted. They're being granted these very generous gifts from China as a result of this trip. Now I ask you, how does any of this benefit the American citizenry? How does any of this benefit the people of Taiwan? If you seriously think that any American politician gives a fuck, like an actual fuck, about the people of Taiwan, well then the burden lies with you, my friend. This is simply a ploy to encircle the People's Republic of China because they have policies and a leading ideology that the U.S. empire simply disagrees with. And when there is a country that the U.S. empire disagrees with and doesn't bend to the will of America, they will do things like this, like try to encircle you, much like they're doing with Russia at the moment, and try to plant nuclear arms in places that are close to you, so in case you get out of line, they can basically take you out. But this will not end well, just how the situation in Ukraine is not going well and will not end well. Look, Russia didn't respond immediately to the crisis that was going on in Ukraine. That didn't actually just occur back in February whenever the initial Russian military operation took place. It happened, or it began many, many years ago, but Russia is just now choosing to act. We can expect the same from China. They had a measured response. They didn't go off the deep end, much like the U.S. was seemingly wanting, so they can manufacture consent and throw out headlines like China invades Taiwan as if they can invade one of their own provinces. I don't expect this situation to get any better anytime soon, especially knowing our insanely deranged and fanatical politicians. But I figured I'd bring to you the quote unquote wins, which were actually just losses for everyone as a result of Miss Pelosi's insanely ridiculous trip to Taiwan.